million. Right here off the west side where it all started, why they call this area Gold Canyon. As we come around the curve, beginning our climb back to Virginia City, if you look off the west side of the train, when we hit the large bluff that we're approaching, you'll see the entrance to Old Tunnel Number 3. Now, Tunnel Number 3 collapsed around 1930. We did make an attempt to reopen this old tunnel during the reconstruction of the railroad, but folks, it collapsed once again. We built what railroads call a shoe fly right around the outside of the mountain here. Now, this is the only short portion of your trip today. You're not on the original V&D right-of-way, which of course went right through the old tunnel. But I will promise you the view from this shoe fly is a lot better than it ever was from inside the old tunnel. Now, folks, once we clear the mountain here off the west side, if you look back toward the rear of the train up the little gorge, you will see the collapsed exit of Tunnel Number 3 and some of the old wood and steel beds that held that tunnel up over 150 years ago. Coming up right here off the west side, look right up the little gorge. She's right up there. Now, folks, once we clear this large bluff off the west side, and before we go back in the tunnel, if you look up the cut between the end of this bluff and the entrance of the tunnel, you'll see a large flagpole at the top of the hill. This was the site of Fort Homestead, commissioned in 1860 with 100 soldiers and 2 cannon to protect Virginia City. The only problem with that plan was there was nothing to protect Virginia City from. Fort Homestead was decommissioned in 1880. The 2 cannon were taken away and those 100 soldiers. The interesting part of the story, though, is that the United States government has never given up the land the fort sat on. They never built on it or sold it. They just put a big fence around it. Personally, I think the government keeps aliens up there now. I think that's Area 52. A little bit of smoke, a little bit of heat, a whole lot of living history. This is what it was like when you were home, just the way it was in 1870. Folks, that was my version of Comstock global warming. Now, when those miners first came to the Comstock Road, the only thing they knew that was here to dig for was gold. While they were digging for that gold, they kept running into a problem. Folks, it was something they called the infernal blue muck. It was a blue-gray, clay-type substance. It stuck to their picks and their shovels, it fouled their sluice boxes, and it gave them nothing but trouble. The deeper they dug, the worse it got. They began to accumulate huge piles of that blue muck next to their mining claims. So much so, they started to haul it by the wagon load to the brand new town of Virginia City and throw it on the streets. Now they did that because that blue muck dried so hard and packed so well, it made excellent tracking for the wagons and mules, especially during those wet winter months. But about 2 years went by. In late 1862, someone finally assayed that infernal blue muck. Well, folks, it came back at nearly $3,000 per ton in silver. So the rush to the Comstock was on. Yeah. People from all over the globe started coming to the richest gold and silver strike in world history. Almost overnight, Virginia City's population swelled from a few hundred to several thousand. And folks, that legend that you might have heard, well, folks, that legend's actually true. That at one point in time, the streets of Virginia City, Nevada, had been paved with silver. Now, still to this day, there is over 750 miles of mine shafts and tunnels going down 3,000 feet deep and even deeper than that up here along the Comstock Lake.